Hello.
Hello.
Hello and
Hi.
welcome to...
Hello.
It's already hijacked. He's been away for a few days.
Yeah, I'm back now, though.
Welcome to This Week in WCPW. I am new Adam from What Culture. Yes, another one. And I am joined by the Head of Talent Relations, James Dixon, and the WCPW General Manager to talk all the things that went on. Now, Loaded is finally back.
We're back and better than ever.
Indeed.
Got a knack of making things better. Yeah, welcome home, Loaded. Went off with a really good episode, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
Now on Twitch, added Twitch to the WCPW family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was very, very proud of the episode as it went out. The first match wasn't a DQ, so we learned from that,
Did open with a promo.
Did open with a promo from a better general manager.
Yes. A necessary promo, I feel.
Indeed. A lot of people were asking me why I dressed up quite so formally for my opening
You
promo.
always do.
Oh, yeah, it's just who I am.
A lot of people weren't happy with his name on the screen.
Oh, well.
You know.
He's playing the character of Adam Blompier, General Manager of WCPW. I particularly like your ring entrance with the,
My sort of weird kip up.
I like that.
It's my thing.
Is that your thing now?
Yeah. I'm going to do it all the time.
Okay, keep an eye out for that.
There was some other stuff on the show as well.
Yeah, some other stuff, some wrestling.
Some other non-plumpy related material. Don't see the point of discussing that personally. But
how angry were you when you got interrupted by the Prestige?
The Prestige are twats, so it's always bad to see that. Okay. It has been difficult, especially with Joe Hendry kind of kicking about the office. It's like they're out of control, really, aren't they? I feel like they're all incredibly talented in the ring, which makes it even more upsetting. The fact that they continually try to hijack the product, but all you can do is just try and keep them back, keep them down. People want to see him. People want to see him wrestle. I mean, shame as it is, Joe Hendry is our champion. But peeved is a word. I am annoyed.
Joe Hendry is our champion for now.
Well, I'm hoping to.
Well, we'll see what happens next week with Marty Scurll,
Indeed.
But I would say he is a twat. Absolutely. You've summed it up very well. But I also think he's probably the best heel in the business right now.
He gets his desired response, especially when he shushes.
Because he's not just a guy playing a prick. He's just a prick. It
helps. It really does.
It does help. And, the way he treats fans, follow his Instagram, follow his Twitter, the abuse. I mean, anyone who's been to live events will see the same thing. He won't sign autographs for less than £100,
I've seen him take £100 off people and keep it.
I've seen people put 20, 30, £40 on the table and him just not speak, bat it away. He is a bad person,
I think people think that only happens once he comes through the curtain. Nope.
No.
It's like that backstage.
Yeah.
Have you had the joy of interviewing him yet?
I think I did interview him. I don't know where the interview is, but I did interview him at Built to Destroy, and he sensed maybe it was one of my first interviews I was doing for WCPW.
Took it easy on you, did he?
Pounced.
Okay.
Is the best way to describe it. I think he said halfway through the interview, "Do you think this is going well?"
The thing is, people are going to complain, all the kayfabe, and say, no, we're not kayfabe. He used to be playing a character.
Yeah.
But now he's become consumed by it. And
it's
now
like he's hit his head and doesn't know when he was a nice guy before.
He's an arrogant prick.
Yeah.
But people hate him, which is great.
The nice guy thing just wasn't washing. You could see it, you could hear it on episodes of Loaded and on pay-per-views. People weren't buying the local hero thing because it wasn't real.
Yeah. I mean,
he's
always been like that. When you look back, he's always been self-involved and arrogant, and it's all about Joe Hendry. He used to sing his own entrances. Couldn't be more arrogant.
Whatever will get him the most airtime, whatever will get him the most column inches, and damned be whoever it gets in his way.
Right.
And I can't decide whether after this week's episode the Prestige look weaker or stronger, because they obviously were beaten in the 4-on-4 match by the Curb Crawlers.
Great name.
And Joe came out to attack the new number one contender, and it didn't happen. But Travis, right at the end, beat up the guy he's going to be facing for the internet title.
Did you know Travis was there?
No, he was no one knew he was there. It's just, where did he come from? You know, it was like he hasn't been seen for weeks. He's very busy. He's been wrestling all over the place.
Yeah, he won't return my calls. I don't know about you, but obviously Travis Banks is an incredibly hot property through now to the World Cup finals, and there's I think there's a reason for that. He's genuinely one of the best wrestlers on the UK at the moment. This is his year. But
I'd go a step further. He's one of the best wrestlers on the independent scene in the world.
Yeah, oh god, absolutely. It's just at the moment like he's not. I don't know. Like he's not. Certainly not prioritizing his professional engagements with me. Don't know.
He's what happens to many people. You know, he's got in with the wrong crowd.
Yeah.
He's been led astray. You know, he was annoyed when we tried to do an angle with him and Doug Williams where he was Doug Williams' son. He thought that was ridiculous.
I mean,
you know,
where would that play today? Those kind of
just
angles.
not realistic in 2017.
Apparently not. I mean, we did it first, but neither. And you know, and since then he's like Joe. He's just gone off the deep end. So, but yeah, we didn't know he was there. So I assume you'll be dealing with that, will you, appropriately?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Kid has obviously demanded a title match to get his measure of revenge. I've acquiesced.
What if he loses?
What
have you done?
I don't look. I have faith.
What have you done?
I believe in Gabriel Kidd. I think. Well, look, it's not up to me to. I could have made it like a non-title match, but people want to see a title match, so
sure,
it is what it is.
Sure.
Look, if there's no. What's annoying about the Prestige is they are all really good. And really good wrestlers win titles, and if that's just how it is, then
I mean, you can end up potentially with Joe Hendry as the WCPW champion. You can end up potentially with Travis Banks as the Internet champion.
Yeah,
El Ligero.
Well, hopefully,
Ligero's got the briefcase.
Hopefully, people will pay tickets to see babyfaces beat those guys. So,
I hope so. I mean, I guess that's the idea.
You mentioned the briefcase there with El Ligero. Maybe not the best decision if you're going to use the briefcase to hit someone with to hit Primate. Out of everyone,
he's got
he hits himself with stuff, so
he's
know
sort of
that
got a mutant healing factor.
Yeah.
as our Primate. I mean, he sort of realised it was a mistake quite early on.
I think when you watch it, it looks like he's not putting his all into it because he regrets it midway through the swing.
Yeah,
you know, he's sort of like, you know, I kind of wish I hadn't done that, and then he was right because he got destroyed, but. Primate as well, though, with that face paint. What about? He looked terrifying. I think he's been to the cinema, hasn't he? But yeah, he looked great.
Yes, there are some ape-related things on at the cinema.
Indeed, there are.
I think it's a great addition to his look. I'm really digging this kind of attitude shift to Primate.
Yeah. Nice evolution, right?
I think the next evolution of Primate.
Yeah.
I think the audience is behind him like it's never been, which is fantastic.
Let's talk about his match for a second on YouTube, hitting 1 million views. Him and Scotty Wainwright.
Yeah.
The second most viewed WCPW match in history.
Behind, Rey Mysterio and Alberto El Patron.
Yeah, I mean, that's some way ahead. Obviously, a lot of publicity around that one.
Yeah, but
1 million, why do you think that is?
I think it probably factors into a bunch of places. I think maybe it's gone viral in certain parts of the world. I think Primate he's become a one-man hardcore division. Sure. He's almost kind of made a one-man brand of violence in WCPW, and I think that's really gaining traction.
Why not the others?
I really, really like the thumbtacks in the mouth spot. Where he hits.
Do you think that's what it is? Do you think people just wanted to see that?
I mean,
I wanted to see that.
I think it makes you want to click through. It's a horrible image.
The thumbnail, though, isn't that.
Oh, is it not?
No. And this is what concerns me a little bit. So we're going to get real now. The thumbnail is Primate powerbombing B. Priestley in the thumbtacks.
Oh, I see.
And it's done 1 million views. So what does that tell you, about wrestling fans, I guess? Oh, we want to see the girl getting brutalized. That's a little bit concerning to me, if that's what it is. What do you think?
Wrestling fans are a curious breed. They like
look around this
like.
table. Yeah.
I think the thumbnail on the video may be what's getting them through the door, but once they're through and they're watching the match, the talent speaks for itself.
Yeah.
I think all three Scotty Wainwright, B. Priestley, and Primate put everything they had into that match.
Oh, it was great.
And hey, if it's a clickbaity thumbnail, then look, let's just say that I think we've made some fans.
Sure, I hope
all
so.
Three.
I mean, I'd like to think that that's not the reason, and it's took on a life of its own, and
but who knows?
I don't know. So answers on a postcard in the comments, I guess, that we don't read anyway. But why did you watch it?
Well done on wearing sleeves, by the way. Speaking of not reading the comments,
yes, it was colder
not
today.
in any way influenced by. No, okay, cool.
It was cold in August in England, isn't it?
Yeah. Summer. Yeah, it is famously cold.
It's chilly. It's chilly in this room.
It's chilly in this office.
Thank you.
Indeed.
Thank you.
To get
I'm
back,
actually wearing 3 shirts. It is quite chilly.
That's ridiculous, by the way.
I look great.
A sweatshirt would do the job where 2 of those would. Not
Yeah,
be
but
required.
I look better this way.
now I have to apologise slightly because last week on This Week in WCPW, I kind of gave away a massive spoiler from
the mystery opponent
to
Alex
Alex
Gracie, yeah.
Gracie.
Yeah, cheers for that.
How did you know when it was live?
Call it intuition.
I feel like we haven't seen Matt Riddle in a while.
But to get onto that match, I loved watching it. I've never actually seen Matt Riddle in person live, and that combined with the new Alex Gracie, who's
The legend,
they're trying to
Alex
become indeed the legend, and Alex's decision to do a stick fight and then complete 180 within about a minute entertained me greatly. I thought it was a fantastic
Brought
match.
a
I
stick
think
to a Matt Riddle fight.
yeah.
It's a nice callback, that stick fight, because they had a stick fight in at the Pro Wrestling World Cup England show, I believe it was.
Yes, I believe so.
Tag match, Prospect and Riddle and Liam Slater. And they had a stick fight and it was really good. So obviously the fans want to see it again. Gracie, bad guy that he is, takes the sticks away.
People forget though that Alex Gracie is as dangerous as he is. Like he's not only he's trained in a whole bunch of
I think it's 11,
martial arts.
11, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think people forget. I just don't think they realise. Riddle's dangerous, but Gracie's. I wouldn't mess with Gracie.
No. Yeah. Like he's acted the buffoon because that's just part of who he is or was at this stage. Was a light-hearted guy, but the dude could really go like crazy amounts.
I mean, his surname's Gracie. Any MMA fans around, they'll know what that means. So, I mean,
I don't know what that means.
You're not an MMA fan, I guess. No.
The Gracie family are rather well respected.
Yes.
In MMA.
Are they like the McMahon family?
No,
not quite.
Not at all. In fact, for many reasons.
They're like the Orton family.
Maybe more like the Hart family, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. Are the Hart family respected in wrestling?
Yeah.
Okay.
They
By
should
certain
be.
people.
Well, I mean,
Also trained a lot of people.
overrated, if you ask me.
But as much as
WCPW star Bret Hart was on. I can't believe what
I'm
said.
joking.
You're a troll, is what you are.
Har, har, har.
for as much as you want to hate Gracie, kicking out of a leaping tombstone pile driver is still very impressive.
Yeah. Shawn Michaels couldn't do that.
That's true.
There you go.
Riddle did kick out of a Canadian destroyer, though.
Yes.
P.D. Williams somewhere in Canada crying into a cereal as his move becomes bastardized with each week. But
exciting times for Alex Gracie. I'm intrigued to see what he goes on to do next, because he is on this campaign of earning respect, and
he seems to be he's going after people's heroes. Seems to be what his MO at the moment. He's going up like 2 of the most popular guys that we've had through our doors, Kenny Williams and Matt Riddle, and he's targeted both those guys and got victories over both. So it's who else? What other legends is?
might come up to you. You might want to watch yourself.
I am a legend, to be fair.
Apparently,
people do love me, but I mean that would be a very easy target.
What, you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
he wouldn't come after me.
Okay.
too much of an MMA background for you.
But I mean, I've got too much of an MMA background
Yeah.
for him. Yeah. I'm like the Cormier.
Well
you're
done.
DC
He
Cormier,
just got
okay.
beat, so good choice.
Am I?
Anderson Silva.
John Jones, maybe.
The Martian Manhunter. Think about it, mate. He's not an MMA fighter. He's in DC Comics. I'm like.
What's happened?
Try Fedor Emelianenko.
You can't say it.
I'm like Chael Sonnen.
Right.
Good. Talks well and gets beaten quite a lot.
Okay, that's fine.
Let's move
That
on.
is true. You've summed it up.
Let's move on to a debut in WCPW, War Machine,
Oh, Jesus.
in a match that's been talked about for a variety of reasons.
Yeah.
Swords of Essex defending their tag team championships
Yeah.
against some people who know a lot about winning gold in War Machine.
Hashtag and new.
And new, yeah, indeed. They, I interviewed them backstage after their win, and it's the scariest interview I've ever
bet
done.
it was.
Cool.
Yeah, I bet it
4
was.
belts on the, that were there, and also I didn't interview them like you two stand there and they stood in between me.
They stood in between you. That must be
Oh,
painful.
sorry, yes. They were. It's flashbacks.
Yeah, I
and
know,
they've been
right?
terrifying. No, yeah, they were very ominous, I should say.
Indeed.
I do want to mention before we get on to the what a great match it was about Scotty Wainwright.
Yes.
There is an interview on What Culture Extra that I did with Scotty, which went out straight after Loaded, which I think is well worth a listen.
Absolutely.
An update on Scotty's condition, a really eye-opening chat about his life. I asked him like something about I asked him the biggest challenge of his career, and I thought he'd give a very generic wrestler response of life on the road or whatever, but it's not the case. He's very honest, and it was refreshing.
These
to
people
hear.
are going to be pissed with you leaving them hanging like this.
Well,
You know,
it's on What
at least
Culture Extra.
give us an update on his condition.
Well, so he, it's horrible to watch once you know
Yeah.
what happened. So he,
Yeah, I mean, I sort of know what happened from at the time, obviously, but like, how is he now?
he popped 2 of his ribs basically during the match, which is horrible to watch when you actually see it back.
Yeah.
He is recovering. He is not ruling out wrestling ever again, but there will be a long period before we perhaps see him in the ring again. And I think that's fair enough. He doesn't want to rush himself back. He wants to sort of do himself justice when he comes back, not
course,
come back and be 50%. He wants to be 100%, and he wants to, be the guy who Will Ospreay is one of his best mates. He wants to be the guy alongside Will, not just be someone who's tagging along with him,
Yeah.
basically.
It's sort of a strange coincidence that 2 members of the Swords of
Indeed.
Essex now have been forced to step away from the ring for medical reasons. Obviously, we miss Paul every time we put on a show. He was an absolute asset to WCPW, and Scotty, no different at all. One hopes that, unlike Paul, this isn't going to be a permanent thing. We'd love to see Scotty Wainwright in a wrestling ring again.
Indeed, and if you want to support him, there's more details I think on his Twitter, and also obviously in the interview, because he's a wrestler and the wrestler's lifestyle is well known in the way that they have to support themselves, and if he can't wrestle, he needs the fan support as much as possible.
Yeah, it was. But I mean, to me, I'm glad to hear that he's not ruled wrestling out, because immediately after the injury, I was talking to him, as he was getting seen to, and he was done. At that point, he was done with wrestling. Like, he was gone forever. So I am glad. I'm glad that that's not the case.
But the injury happened obviously during the match with a lift that he was doing. He had Ospreay on his shoulders, and he went to lift him up to throw him down onto one of War Machine. I can't remember which one it was off the top of my head. But having known that, re-watching it again on Loaded, it's a tough watch, especially because it's it goes through that cycle of we're used to wrestlers going down or being injured, and then especially in a tag match to save their partner. But it very, very quickly becomes apparent that's not the case, and you can almost see, because obviously I think he's the legal man as well. So Ospreay sort of is not sure what to do, and he's speaking to him, and then
It's always the most innocuous things as well when you see the injuries. Like, it was always the stuff that you like. Whenever WWE run a big injury angle, they do like the fake thing that caused the injury. Like, do you remember when Cena's
Bicep,
pec
or the
thing?
pecs,
Or and like the one thing they showed of that was him being RKO'd on the table. That was the thing that caused that injury. But in fact, it was Cena doing a hip toss.
Yeah. Well, look, Takayama. I mean, I don't know if you guys heard, but like yesterday it came out that Takayama, a veteran legend of Japanese wrestling, he performed a sunset flip in DDT in a match in May, and it came out yesterday that he's now paralyzed, like from the neck down. Everyone knew it was sort of a career-ending injury, but no one realized like just how bad it was, and like I don't think he can speak. I don't think he can eat.
From a sunset flip.
From him performing a sunset flip, like of all things, and it's always so. Thoughts go out to Takayama, and hopefully he will make a recovery. But hopefully like that's not it for him, because it's awful. But yeah, such an innocuous move, just a sunset flip. It's quite a basic thing, and he's a veteran. He's done it thousands of times, I'm sure, with no problems. And it is always those little things that do it.
And it just goes to show that every time one of the guys steps between the ropes, it's always going to be a risk.
Yeah.
Which is obviously why we are so proud of our locker room for what they put themselves through to entertain our fans. Because even on just like trying to pick up one of your partners, you never know what's going.
And also, it speaks to Will Ospreay, the fact that whilst one of his best friends is quite obviously, I think Will himself even says to Scotty, because Scotty told me that he was desperate to finish the match.
Yeah, he
despite
was,
what had happened. Like I said to him, your body physically could not continue, and you were still trying to get back in the ring. And Will actually had to have a word with him and say, just get you go and tell the
staff, get him out of
there.
You can see on camera he says, get him out of here.
But for him to carry on and with such an amazing match as well. I mean, we said going into it this was going to be a tough test for the Swords of Essex, and one of them taking on War Machine, Hanson and Rowe.
Yeah, I mean, Will Ospreay is one of the best wrestlers in the world, but War Machine are two of the best wrestlers in the world. So
bigger.
Yeah, it's just at some point, mass just isn't on your side, and mass isn't on your side. It's incredible. Like twice this has happened to. Obviously, like it happened to Scotty Wainwright, but twice very high profile matches for Will have come a cropper as just a mix of circumstances. Top rope breaking in Ospreay Ricochet, and his partner going down in the middle of a match. But once again, like the ability of Will Ospreay to turn the match and craft something new out of that, like he's unparalleled. That's why he's as highly esteemed as he is around the world.
I mean, people who criticize him, just watch the match with Ricochet when the rope breaks, watch how they held it together for another 12 or 13 minutes after that. Watch the match with War Machine where Scotty was taken out, and things go off script sometimes and don't quite go to plan, and Will, you wouldn't have known any different because he was so good. And War Machine as well, of course, and Ricochet in the other match. But, people who criticize him as just being this guy who just flips and can't do anything else,
not at all.
Nonsense.
What's going through your head when all this happens?
And my first concern was that Scotty was okay. So the first thing I did is when we got the signal from the referee was to go and find the medical personnel and send another referee out to help get him back. I mean, I didn't watch the rest of the match after that point, obviously, because I was with Scotty, making sure he was okay. And, there was medical people there, whether we needed an ambulance or not. And because Scotty was adamant that he didn't want that. He didn't want to go to hospital, but sometimes what the guys want and what's best for them isn't always the same thing. So obviously you've got sort of that shock as well. When you get injured in the ring, you're almost suffering from shock. And Scotty was going through that a little bit, and so it was unpleasant. But you just try and stay as level-headed as possible. You trust the guys in the ring are going to deliver what they need to deliver, and even if they don't, it doesn't matter, because the most important thing is that the guys are okay, and that in this case, Scotty's okay. So the match, I couldn't care less about the match at that point.
Yeah. Obviously,
when I watch it back and it's great, that's even better. But at the time, it's irrelevant. So the primary focus, is it's don't panic. If you start panicking in that situation, when the wrestler's panicked, it's not going to help anything. Stay calm, move on. Do what you can to help them, and keep the show going at the same time. So it was unpleasant, but obviously he's okay. So good. It turned out okay.
And the finish of the match, we mentioned some amazing spots from Will. There was a shooting star on Rowe when he's hanging off the ropes. There was the Oz cut, which you thought, is he going to defeat War Machine 2-on-1? Which for someone who is not well liked at the moment, for a man who takes on War Machine 2-on-1, you can't help but sort of root for him a little bit, despite the fact of the history of the Swords of Essex, perhaps in WCPW.
He's a babyface now, isn't he?
Yeah, you can never. Yeah, you can never. Even at his Pachiti Club worst, Will was always peerless in the ring, and has earned the respect because of that.
What about those tag belts? So twice now, when they've changed hands, it's one of the guys who's holding the belt's been injured.
Yeah.
It's coincidences, man.
I hope
very strange.
Yes.
I can't see.
Good luck to War Machine.
Yeah, well, good luck to War Machine, but good luck to anyone who's going to try and beat them. I mean, who on the planet is going to be able to beat them? No one in New Japan can beat them.
We'll find out this week, I should say.
We're assembling challenges, and
Kings of the North.
Yeah, it's been really fun. Prospect putting together challenges for War Machine. So we'll have several of those in the weeks to come.
Look forward to seeing if anyone can topple that. I mean, the finish. I've said this before. They could basically sit on someone. And that's a decent enough finisher. But their lift and it was just a brilliant end to that match.
You're seeing like cruiserweight moves out of gigantic
that
men.
springboard back elbow.
I think
ridiculous.
I was asking for questions earlier. Yeah, Philip Stu tweeted saying thoughts on the athletic abilities of War Machine's Hansen. I think we've mentioned it there.
Ungodly,
It defies logic.
It's terrifying.
I mean, we saw that with Keith Lee as well. Like, there's this new mode of wrestler where it used to be guys like Will and Ricochet and Mike Bailey and whoever are flying around, and it's the smaller guys, the athletic, naturally thin, flying around all over the place, cruiserweight, typical cruiserweight kind of guys. But now you've got monsters like Keith Lee and War Machine flipping, and Moose as well.
Moose, yeah.
Lucha Moose. I mean, ridiculous what you see now.
WWE, you've got like guys like Apollo Crews, who's gigantic, and like they've dialed down the level of his athleticism, but he can still do a standing shooting star press for a guy his size, and Braun Strowman's kipping up all over the place. So like, I don't know what's. Like, I mean,
it's not
new breed.
It's not new as such. It's just happening more. Like Big Show used to be able to do a moonsault.
I would not take that.
No, neither did Kevin Nash faked a heart attack, so he didn't have to take it. That's true. Brock Lesnar obviously can or could do a shooting star press, apart from that one time.
Yeah.
Then he didn't again. But, he could do it, and, OVW was doing it every week. So it's not a new thing as such, but all those guys who used to do it were being told, you don't need to do that, don't do it. Whereas now, I think the monster who plods around the ring, that doesn't really work anymore. And everyone's this new super worker, new breed of super worker.
Yeah,
and the big guys are the same.
Era, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we'll see how it all develops over time, but at the moment, it's great viewing. I mean, what a year it's been in wrestling generally for super matches,
And the main event of Loaded was, of course, the number one contenders match, which you announced at the start of the evening, thanks to Joe Hendry. Yeah,
that got him.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. Take that, mate.
A match with two. I think with these, sometimes you see in certain organisations you'll see a number one contenders match with two people against whoever the champion is there, and you go, well, I know who's going to get this because they're the better guy, or they're the more well known guys. That's obviously going to be the case. But to have Kyle O'Reilly against Marty Scurll, good luck calling that one.
The day after he was in NXT.
Indeed.
Mind. Yeah.
And it was just a case of, I mean, Kyle O'Reilly just decided to just pick apart Marty Scurll. His kicks and he targeted Marty's arms and his knees. I was talking to Sam about it on Reloaded on Friday about how some of the camera work, because it's so close. There's no way you can sort of fake that someone kneeing someone in the face.
No.
And Kyle doesn't mess about with those.
No, and the thing is like that he's too, obviously like he's a huge part of Ring of Honor and New Japan. Obviously now he's in WWE, but yeah, just like stiff style is inherent to the work he's been doing for the last few years. So there'd be no reason to pull. No. And especially with Marty Scurll sort of being the new, it's sort of like watching the old guard of Ring of Honor against the new, really.
Absolutely.
And very much a torch passing moment.
I mean, what would have happened if Kyle won and then beat Joe? And then yet another WWE guy has our belt. That'd have been good. So I'm quite glad that didn't happen.
Yeah.
It turned out okay.
Yeah, me too.
So Marty Scurll, number one contender, which means next week is a stacked card on Loaded. 3 title matches, the Internet Championship, the Tag Team Championship, and the WCPW Championship, all on the line.
That's right.
Overkill plumps.
Look, Loaded's back. I really want Loaded to be like operating at its kind of pinnacle right now, especially with we're trying to get as many new eyes on it as possible, getting people over to Twitch, getting people over to Extra, and of course the YouTube channel. Check it out. The next one will be airing on Extra on Thursday, and then Twitch, and then YouTube.
It does look great. The car looks great. Like, looks really good. I am kidding. It's not overbooked. It's excellent.
I'll make the next one even better.
Plumpy Russo over there.
Wow, high praise indeed. I've got some, as usual, Twitter questions here on This Week in WCPW. A great question from Chris, which I suppose a lot of people have been asking. What is next for WCPW after the Pro Wrestling World Cup finals? Because obviously we've sort of partially given that away anyway, because we've already got Stacked to come.
That's right.
I suppose it's just more of the same, because now not only have we've had the Pro Wrestling World Cup, which obviously been going on for quite a while now, and it's building to quite the crescendo at the end of August. You've also got more pay-per-views in the works, obviously,
right.
And with Loaded coming back, it's a busy time.
Yeah, absolutely. We're not taking a break because how dare we?
Who needs sleep?
Right. We've got obviously we're filming we're filming episodes of Loaded. We're filming a pay-per-view, 3 World Cup shows. So yeah, we're doing about 5 days on the trot at the end of August to give us enough episodes of Loaded.
Get ourselves an aneurysm.
That's right. Heart conditions all, and of course we're shooting for another pay-per-view at the end of September, beginning of October. Around that time, that's going to be the next pay-per-view. We're locking.
You refuse to lose, I believe.
Yes, we are.
Refuse to.
I thought it should have been built to destroy, but.
Oh, for God's sake!
Then what do you do for build?
It's not the 90s.
Then there's no built 3 destroyers. No. That doesn't make any sense. So it does fall apart.
So yeah, we're going to be building to that. So very much not stopping at all. Not even taking a week off.
No. And let's not forget, James, that it is a certain someone's birthday during those shows.
I haven't forgotten.
Good, okay.
Don't worry.
Okay, that's fine.
The industry hasn't forgotten.
you know our address. Send me some presents at least. Maybe some ointment for my chair.
Ointment, yeah, very.
The Vino cream's very good.
Is it?
Chops, yes,
okay.
It is.
Jordan Schofield with another good question. What is next for Will Ospreay now that the Swords of Essex have obviously lost the tag belts and
the World Cup?
World Cup. He's one of the finalists.
Rey Mysterio's next for him.
Yeah,
I
think he's focused.
But I think he's focused too. It's his dream opponent. It's his dream match. It's his one of his idols. And to beat your idol, it's.
We're going to loosen the top rope, nice and slack.
We might even not bother with ropes.
Yeah,
Well, maybe not. Who needs 3? You don't need 3.
You can manage without, can you?
do everything we can just to add the trilogy of accidents.
God, don't jinx it. Touch something.
There's no wood in this build.
No.
Johnny McRoberts asked, will WCPW ever do a full UK and Ireland tour? Which I suppose we've partially answered.
Doing one now.
With how eventful the end of August is going to be for us.
Leeds, Sheffield, Milton Keynes, Manchester, Newcastle. That's a tour.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Tour of the mostly the north, but yes.
Yeah, I think we'd love...
There's trains.
Yeah, there's
cars.
We'd love to come to Ireland. We will see.
Good. And my... one question that I thought was really apt to ask now was asked by Cabyak on Twitter. Who do you think is the most underrated talent in WCPW right now? You, with your unknown MMA skills.
You don't know. I'm like Conor
Mayweather.
Mayweather.
Yeah. That'll get the comments going.
Yeah. I think we've got lots of up and coming tag teams coming through. Like big fans of both the Hunter Brothers and the South Coast Connection. Like you haven't seen much of those, which is they may be underrated. Would have said Travis Banks up until recently, but like the seal's broken on him. Gracie I think is severely underrated. Prick that he is. There's loads. What about you?
Lucky Kid.
Lucky Kid.
We've been going on about him so much.
I'm really
hoping.
I think. Yeah, that this is his breakout.
Me too. Yeah, me too. I think Lucky Kid's great.
I'm looking to get over as well. You unfortunately didn't get to see him in the German World Cup because he was unfortunately suffering from ill health at the time. But Lucky Kid's tag partner, Tarkan Aslan, he's fantastic as well.
And I'm sure fans who are there at the World Cup events will see both of them if they play their cards. Well, they might. Depends how far Lucky Kid gets, I guess. But Tarkan's going to be over supporting him.
I'd say Mike.
So they'll see him at least at ringside.
Mike Bailey as well.
Yeah.
He's not underrated to anyone who's seen but one of his matches, but he still hasn't. You know, I don't think he's had more than 5 matches for us. So you know, you could argue that he's still underrated, and him versus Banks will be a sight to be seen.
I do have one more.
Is it me?
It's not you. It's an old friend of yours.
Rampage.
Yeah, like I think Rampage is perhaps the best all-round wrestler in the country. A view shared by Stu Bennett, mind. If you watch the commentary, he says as much. Thinks he's one of the greatest wrestlers in the world.
Yeah,
and he is. And I don't think people realise fully just how good he is.
I think after his match with Ishii, I think people are more clued into just how impressive Rampage is. After his match with me, obviously.
Yes, that was a good demonstration of his talent.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think we've
back and forth encounter
to the
limit, wasn't it though? I mean, I don't think in many cases we've booked him quite as well as we could have booked him. I think there's a lot of things where it was like, that probably wasn't the right choice. You know, in hindsight, at the time, obviously we thought it was. I think with certain opponents, you could really see what Rampage can do. For example, his match with Drew. Voldemort, Drew Galloway in Orlando was great. What a great main event that was. So when you give him the chance to really go out there and do his thing and give him the time to do it, he really excels.
I think that Rampage is he's one of our originals, and he's really starting to rack up the tenure to respect. Like the crowd was split. When in his match with Ishii, people really respect Rampage, and we just need to showcase him in more blockbuster matches like that.
I think, I was in the crowd to watch him against Ishii, and I'll just say they weren't holding back.
No, head-butted each other full in the head. Yeah, that's fine. Careful now.
Finally, guys, one thing I did want to ask your opinion of, which is completely not WCPW related, but is trending a fair bit after this weekend. Something that I like to call the cock and sock connection. Joey Ryan and Mick Foley over the weekend. James Dixon, thoughts?
Who cares? What's it got to do with anything?
Okay.
It's not a WCPW thing at all. Were you told to bring this up? Were you asked? Were you instructed by the powers that be to bring it up? It's ridiculous. Who cares? Joey Ryan wrestled for us one time.
Would you let him do his...
Would I touch his cock? No, I wouldn't.
Okay. Adam?
Is it a big deal? Is it? He's done this move before.
His cock or this spot?
I think it's the fact it's with someone as legendary perhaps as Mick Foley.
And a friend of Jim Cornette's as well.
Mick Foley never did anything stupid.
No, he puts a sock on his hand.
Yes.
I don't need to say anything else, do I? Just wrap it up. It's ridiculous. Who cares about that? Like, I'm sure you all loved it on the internet. It was, how hilarious. Let's kill the industry.
See, I knew I'd get a reaction out of you.
No, I didn't even. I was not going to talk about it. I can't believe you brought that up. What's the point?
Well, join us next week.
Maybe.
Well, join these two at least next week on This Week in WCPW. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks to our general manager. Thanks to our head of talent relations, James Dixon. James, apologise. I've been New Adam from What Culture, and we'll see you soon. We'll see you next week, actually.
Bye.
Maybe.